Hello, family! Welcome back to Day 2 of the 1000 Ant Tribe Development Plan. Looking back at yesterday, I introduced some parrot food resources, which are mainly made up of grain seeds. It looks like they really enjoy these seed-based foods. However, it seems that they must have been quite exhausted, as several worker ants outside the ant castle were motionless, while the nest had an increased amount of food resources. Even the queen came out to help with the gathering. Currently, the artisan harvester ants are in normal condition. Since they entered the castle, there have been no casualties, which is an excellent sign. As long as the worker ants are doing well, it means the queen is healthy. However, I do have one question. Did I give them too much seed food at once? The seeds I fed them yesterday haven't been entirely collected. Is it that the leftover food doesn't suit their needs? Or is there another reason? The food supply in the nest has obviously increased compared to yesterday, and food resources are no longer scarce. Now, we just need to wait and see when the queen starts breeding. Looking at the situation now, the food resources in the nest have increased significantly. The worker ants seem to be handling the food collection well, and the queen is actively participating in the process. The food supply is sufficient, but I'm starting to wonder if I may have overfed them. Yesterday's seed food was not completely moved, leaving some behind. Could it be that they are not interested in the leftover food? Or are they just too tired from their efforts to collect everything? I have noticed that the artisan harvester ants are somewhat selective about the food they collect. This is not surprising, as many ant species are known to be quite discerning when it comes to food choices. They may prioritize certain foods that meet their nutritional needs or are easier to collect. By observing their behavior and how they handle the food, I'm beginning to understand their preferences better. For example, when I observed them, they seemed to leave some seeds behind. This could be an indication that they didn't find the leftover food particularly attractive or necessary. The lesson here is that managing their food intake is crucial. Providing an adequate but not excessive amount of food will likely encourage the ants to forage and collect more actively. I plan to adjust the amount of food I provide in the future, making sure it's not overwhelming for them, and offer a variety of food types to see which they prefer the most. When comparing the artisan harvester ants to the Fess's arch-backed ants, I have to say that the care requirements for the artisan harvester ants are much lower. Although Fess's arch-backed ants are larger in size, they have a very high mortality rate, and any small mistake can lead to nest destruction. On the other hand, artisan harvester ants are much easier to care for, but they have smaller worker ants, which might not be as visually striking. However, the queen's size is quite impressive, and it's easy to spot her within the colony, which is an advantage, especially for beginners. The smaller size of the worker ants may make them less visually captivating, but their behavior is fascinating, as they work tirelessly to collect food and maintain the nest. In addition, the queen's large size makes her very easy to identify, which is great for someone new to ant keeping, as you can easily monitor her health and the colony's overall well-being. So while the artisan harvester ants might not have the dramatic visual appeal of larger species, their stability, easier care, and efficient social structure make them a perfect choice for beginners. In addition, their impressive teamwork and organization within the nest give a sense of wonder and satisfaction that is quite rewarding to watch. In summary, the artisan harvester ants are currently in a stable condition. The nest is peaceful, with no signs of distress, and the worker ants are actively foraging. The queen is healthy, and she seems to be calmly overseeing the activities of the colony. Looking forward, I am excited to see how the colony will develop, and I'm confident that with time and the proper care, the colony will gradually grow to meet the goal of 1,000 ants. The growth of the colony depends largely on the queen's breeding capabilities and the time it takes for the worker ants to carry out their duties. Currently, we are waiting to see when the queen will begin to breed. This is a critical point in the development of the 1000 ant tribe. As the worker ants continue to gather food and maintain the nest, the colony will begin to grow. However, it's essential to maintain a balanced environment and make sure that all resources are properly managed to support the growth of the colony. Looking ahead, I understand that the development of a 1000 ant colony will not be without its challenges. As the colony grows, I'll need to keep a close eye on the food supply and make sure that the ants are getting the right nutrients to thrive. This may involve experimenting with different types of food, adjusting the quantity provided, and observing how the ants react to these changes. Another aspect I'll be focusing on is the interaction between the worker ants and the queen. The worker ants' role in maintaining the health of the colony is crucial, and their ability to care for the queen and protect the nest will determine how well the colony grows. I'll continue to monitor their behavior, especially when it comes to food collection and the way they handle the queen's needs. The more I observe, the more I learn about the delicate balance that keeps the colony healthy. I'll also be paying attention to how the ants build and organize their nest. A well-structured nest is key to the colony's survival, as it provides shelter, food storage, and a safe environment for the queen to breed. Over the coming days, I plan to make small adjustments to the nest setup and monitor how the ants adapt to these changes. That's it for today's update on the 1000 Ant Tribe Development Plan. As you can see, the artisan harvester ants are settling in well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the colony develops. I'm really excited about the potential of this colony, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think the ant castle could use any improvements? If you have suggestions or tips on ant care, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm looking forward to continuing this journey with all of you, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Let's keep track of the growth of our artisan harvester ants and see where this incredible journey leads us. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you in the next update.